record and edit directly on Anchor, and you can make money without any minimum requirements. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. This is why we chose Anchor as our first audio platform. Download the Anchor app or visit anchor.fm to get started. Again, download the Anchor app or visit anchor.fm to get started. Welcome back to the fourth episode of Law of Ball. The second round is finally underway after two very competitive Game 7s, and we're going to have an even more competitive second round with some interesting storylines. So let's just get right into the Game 7. The first one was Jazz and Nuggets. What are your thoughts on Game 7?
I thought both teams played really well, and it just went down to the wire. A very entertaining game. I didn't really watch the full game of it, though, but I know, Jokic did play really well down the stretch. He took some bad shots, but he persevered through it. I think that Gobert could have done better on defense, and I think that Donovan Mitchell could have brought more to the table. But I think both teams are very promising in the future.
Yeah, I don't think Donovan Mitchell played as well in Game 7 like he did in the past games in the series. He had 9 turnovers in Game 7, and he was not that efficient either. So Mike Conley was also 2 of 13, and I think that the fact that they lost by 2 points, I think that was definitely a winnable game for them.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting how these two teams haven't been that good defensively this whole series. They've multiple 50-point game time. Because it was a Game 7, the intensity rises, and it was 80 to 78. I don't know when the last time you've seen that score in a playoff. And we also see the difference that 30 points makes in a Game 7 and an 80-point game. Regular season game where it goes up to 120. Jokic definitely has very clutch buckets. Rockets. How do you feel about the Rockets Thunder Game 7?
That game, that was great. That was down the stretch. I mean, actually, let me take that back. The refs were awful. Scott Foster has a vendetta against the Rockets. He's making calls from everywhere. Literally, it's a clear one-sided bias. The NBA doesn't want the Rockets to win, but even despite all the bad reffing and some bad play from Harden and Westbrook, the Rockets still persevered and won that game down the stretch. Really great clutch performances.
Yeah, Harden did not play good on the offensive side of the ball, but obviously we saw that potential game-winning block and really good defensive IQ from him from jumping away from that ball that Dort threw at him. Yeah, I think it was really close game.
Yeah. I don't know about y'all, but I was worried I thought the Thunder were going to win the whole time. I was constantly fearing the Rockets giving up their lead because it seemed like the Thunder could just make stops and score from anywhere. I really thought that the Rockets were going to choke, and I was so happy they didn't.
Especially with CP3 and the crazy threes he's been putting up.
I know.
Yeah, OKC's been one of the most clutch teams the whole season. So when I saw the score was within 5 in the fourth quarter, I thought it was over for the Rockets. But the one game OKC couldn't win in the clutch just happened to be Game 7, and their late game decisions were so bad. They had three opportunities to drop a good play. They were only down 2. There was one instance where Adams could have cut to the hoop for an open lob, but for some reason he had cut back to the 3-point line instead of screen. It was just a terrible decision making. And Harden's offense, he shot 4-15. I was ready to get all on him. I was looking at his shooting stats the entire time, but he did come up big with that block on Lu Dort.
Yeah, let's talk about Lu Dort's 30-point performance. I don't think anyone expected that from someone who went 0 of 9 during the whole series.
They switched roles this game. Harden became the defensive beast, and Lu Dort was just raining threes.
Yeah, another good Game 7 we had in the first round.
Yeah, those back-to-back days were just amazing, honestly, for NBA basketball. And then right after that, when the Celtics choked in that Game 3, gave up the three-pointer. Just some really great days for great game endings.
Yeah, but what are your thoughts on only having a 1-day break? The Nuggets and Rockets both come off of 7-game series and only get 1 day to rest before their second round. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about the Nuggets, but the Rockets looked great against the Lakers. I think it actually helps them get into a rhythm.
Yeah, especially since the bubble was cut off from the regular season, players aren't really that tired. So I don't think it's affected them too much with 1 day of rest, but you definitely saw the rhythm.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be burnt out anytime soon.
Well, speaking of like the Rockets and Lakers, we saw game one yesterday. Amazing game for the Rockets. They showed
Yeah.
that their small ball was could dominate.
Yeah, and they showed they don't care about LeBron. They don't care about AD. They think that they're the best team out of them two, and they really just showed it and beat them. They blew them out.
Yeah, I watched every Rockets game so far in the bubble, and I think that was the best defensive game we've had so far.
I
I don't
mean,
like how the Lakers are playing basically two fives with JaVale and Dwight Howard. One of those two are always on the court with AD. Like I can understand AD wanting to play the four against like bigger centers because it might be tiring. But come on, you're playing against Robert Covington and PJ Tucker. There's no reason for you not to be able to side to the five.
see, this wouldn't be an issue if they had two versatile fives on the floor. JaVale McGee doesn't know how to handle the ball. He doesn't know how to make plays. Neither does Dwight Howard at this point. They're really just bigs that are good for defense and boards. But when you have another 7 foot player in AD, it's redundant. And because it's redundant, the Lakers are obviously suffering from that. And I really just don't think it's a smart game plan. But their roster isn't actually like good enough for them to like overcome it. They don't have the necessary pieces to play small ball.
Yeah, and so about PJ Tucker and his defense last night. Obviously he didn't put up that crazy defensive numbers, but I saw him stacking the paint and like the way he got offensive rebounds over 7 footers like AD, Dwight Howard, and JaVale. Like that shouldn't be possible when you're 6'5". You could be playing two or something.
Yeah, what people don't understand is that the Rockets, although they play small and although they're considered an offensive team and Harden's considered like a bad defensive player, they actually all hustle a lot on defense and they really give it their all and it works. Like they're a great defensive team and they can really make stops down the stretch.
Yeah, they sacrifice their height, but they have amazing speed. Like in the passing lanes, they have quick hands, and it's I think they have the number one defense right now in the bubble. I mean,
Yeah.
in the playoffs.
And although they sacrifice their height, all their guys are long. They got wingspans to like deflect balls and stuff. And you see like how long they are like in action. Like they get a ton of blocks, they get a ton of deflections. That just forces a ton of turnovers.
They're also strong. Like Harden can like realistically he can guard fours in the post if he needs to.
Mm-hmm.
Westbrook's athletic. Eric Gordon is like he's short, but he's not small. And Robert Covington has amazing length. I think as a
PJ Tucker's huge. Like he's six
Yeah,
five, but he's built. He's so big.
everyone on the Rockets rosters has such a big frame, a
Mm-hmm.
good weight on them for them to be able to play small ball against these bigger guys.
Yeah.
but I didn't watch like the entire game. So who was guarding LeBron? Was it PJ Tucker or Rocco?
It was Rocco and Eric Gordon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting having Eric
I
Gordon.
I mean, obviously the Rockets are doing well, but if I were the coach for the Rockets, I'd have PJ Tucker on LeBron and then have Rocco on AD because I think Rocco's like 6'8" or something, 6'7".
He's like
Yeah,
6'9", super long.
Yeah, he's really long. I think he has the reach, and I think you should just stick PJ Tucker on LeBron because also PJ Tucker's not super like quick as opposed to like but LeBron's not that quick anymore either. I think he's a really good matchup.
I know Dion Waiters isn't like an efficient scorer, but I think they just need someone on the court that can put the ball in the hoop at this point.
Hmm.
Danny Green hasn't been efficient at all. Kyle Kuzma's supposed to be like their like the guy that can ISO and hit jumpers from behind. But honestly, like no one's been showing like no role players showing the aggression to be like the number three. Like obviously LeBron and AD are the ones, but who's gonna rise and become the number
yeah. Especially I saw Ronje Rondo coming back last night, and he did not look like his normal self. Like he was turning the ball over. He was missing
Hmm.
easy shots. Yeah,
Yeah, I think they just need a good score. Like a high volume, low efficiency scores are like frowned upon in the NBA. People like Andrew Wiggins and stuff. I think that might just be who the Lakers need because like LeBron and AD, they'll be somewhat efficient, but I don't know if they could get that high volume unless they really try. I mean, I know that LeBron and AD are two great players that could get you 40 at every night. I don't know why they don't just like give it their all to just like perform that well though. Like it's obviously not a fluke. If LeBron wanted to, there's no reason why he should be scoring 20 a game. He's an all-time great. He scored 50 in a finals game like 2 years ago against an amazing defense. It's really just up to him to step up, and I'm kind of disappointed.
people have been drawing similarities to the Portland game one, but I think it's different because the Portland game one it was close. Like it was like a 5 point game. It was like down to the end. But this game one, the Rockets were just embarrassing like the Lakers.
Yeah, I don't know why, but this game one didn't seem like a fluke.
and
Might just be my
especially
bias.
especially the star power in Houston compared to Portland is way different.
Yeah, like Westbrook and Harden are just like elite. And like, I mean, Lillard, obviously, he's been on the rise, and everybody thinks he's like one of the best point guards in the NBA. At this point, Westbrook is probably either at the same level or better than Dame, and Harden is just Harden's on a different level. Harden's on the LeBron AD level.
And I think another difference is Portland does not have the same wing defense Houston has.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the one thing I'm worried about for the Rockets backcourt is like Westbrook. He like drives hard to the paint no matter like what the score is. Like they could be up 50 and he's going to like try to dunk on someone. I think he needs to like relax once it's like a 16-point game or something with only a few minutes left. He could like accidentally injure himself like the way D Rose did against the Sixers in game one. Like I know like West that's just his play style. He's energetic and is helpful most of the game. But I think like he needs to like learn to relax when like they're up by a lot. And Harden, he's like in the beginning of the series, Harden is always great, but they just need to hope he doesn't tire out and then like have another like 4 for 15 showing against like the Lakers because that'll be way worse than against the Thunder.
What I
Yeah,
really what I really like about the new Rockets rotation is that they're not putting James Harden until further into the fourth quarter, so he does get a breather and he gets to show off in the fourth quarter where they need him.
yeah, I think that the thing Westbrook needs to stop doing is shooting. Honestly, like you've seen him taking these threes during the game. Whenever Westbrook picks up a three, I already assume it's not going in. Obviously, he had that one great shot against AD.
Yeah, that AD 3 was
Yeah,
nice.
that was really nice. But I think he's just not very efficient from three. And he's honestly better off. In my opinion, I think that Westbrook should bring the ball up, be more of a facilitator, Rondo type player. And then him and Harden can feed off each other. But Westbrook should really only be driving to the hoop.
Wait, didn't Westbrook and Harden like didn't they both used to have like nice mid-range shots like back in
Mm-hmm.
the day? I think I know the Rockets like are layup and threes only, but I think they should just give it a try. Like give it a shot. If Westbrook can get going from the mid-range, it's better than him taking some bad 3-point shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Westbrook does lead the Rockets in mid-range shots, and I think he's the only player on the Rockets that does shoot mid-range, and he does a good job of that. But I think it would be interesting for D'Antoni to somehow implement the mid-range to the Rockets team because they're just so famous for their three-point shot and their layups.
Yeah, I mean, Rockets small ball is honestly built around threes, layups, being fast, good at defense. Westbrook is not really good at any of those things besides driving to the hoop. And like, if he wants to play Rockets basketball, he should honestly just really be buying into what they do.
I think both Westbrook and Harden are underrated on the defensive end. When they want to lock up, I think they both have the ability to. It's just balancing the load between carrying the offense and conserving energy on
Mm-hmm.
defense.
I think last night Harden did a really good of balancing that because he got some amazing steals. I don't think he got a block, but he was definitely contesting players out there.
Yeah.
Is this Mike D'Antoni's last like shot for a ring? Do you think? Because he hasn't won a ring his entire coaching career. Is this like his final hail mary for a ring?
Well, maybe with the Rockets, he doesn't have any intention on like in retiring, so he
But what
could
else could he
play.
go to?
What?
Where else could he go to?
People are talking about Philly. I mean, I don't think he's going to win a ring at Philly if he goes there, but he's a desirable coach. He's pretty prominent in NBA circles. So he's going to get another job. For the Rockets, though, I think if they lose this series, it's kind of 50-50 on whether or not he returns. But if they beat the Lakers and LeBron and AD, I don't really see why he would not just give it one more year.
But what if you're Frank Vogel? What do you do after this game one loss? What do you do at the drawing board? Do you change your starting lineup?
That's a great question. What I would do is encourage LeBron and AD to just like be more high volume, take more shots, bring the ball up more. And then I'd encourage the role players to just be a little bit smarter, more efficient, maybe get some practices in. But lineup wise, I think I'd probably just do a lot of sitting JaVale McGee. I think he's been struggling. And maybe give people like JR and Dion Waiters more minutes to get buckets.
I don't want to see AD or I mean I don't want to see JaVale or Dwight Howard on the court against the Rockets, especially meaningfully. But What about the did you guys see Clippers Nuggets game one? I didn't like watch any of it, but the score was like really bad for the
Yeah,
Nuggets.
I mean, I didn't really watch it either, but my takeaways from that are the Clippers are performing well. Obviously, Kawhi is just silently being great, and the Nuggets barely edged out the Jazz. I don't really see how they win the series.
Yeah, and I see Jamal Murray cooling off. He hasn't had a good game since Game 6 against the Jazz, and it's not being that efficient either. So
Did he bring a significant other into the bubble yet?
maybe that's why
No, I don't know. He
he needs
needs
that
to.
motivation.
Yeah, maybe when she arrives, he'll drop another 50 bomb.
They benched Reggie Jackson for Pat Bev. Do you like that decision?
And Reggie Jackson for Pat Bev. Mm, I mean, it's been working so well. I'm not a huge fan of Patrick Beverly, but I do have to respect what he does in the court.
As long as they're winning games, I won't mind Pat Bev over Reggie.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of the Clippers, Montrezl Harrell won Sixth Man of the Year. I personally
Hmm.
thought I should go to Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same here. I think Montrezl Harrell, he's not bad. He's a great player. He does great off the bench, but I feel like Dennis Schroeder. I feel like Montrez has never carried his team like Dennis Schroeder has.
I thought Lou Will also deserved it more than
If
Montrez.
being technical, technically Montrezl Harrell isn't even like the sixth man. I know it doesn't count 'cause as long as you're a bench player. I'm just saying like technically he's not even the Clippers sixth
Yeah,
man.
because he's the seventh man, right?
Yeah, so if anything, Lou Will should have won it over Montrez if you're going in for the Clippers. In my
Yeah.
But I think it was a really good 3-man competition. I mean, I feel like all of them did deserve it, but I feel like Dennis did have the upper hand.
Yeah, one of the most competitive NBA awards. Do you know when they're announcing the MVP?
well, they better announce it soon, or else Giannis is about to bounce out the playoffs.
Can you imagine they announce it after like a Giannis L? He gets swept 4-0, and then they're just
Imagine
like,
if they announce it during Game 4 and then they just get blown out.
yeah, honestly, they should just give it to LeBron now. Well, LeBron's not been playing well either.
Harden? No, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
one day.
Harden was pretty good in regular season.
Yeah, I mean, Harden is honestly just a MVP contender every season. Arguably, he should have at least two, probably three MVPs, but you
Yeah,
can't really do anything about
the
it.
amount of points he puts up is ridiculous, but everyone's just used to it now. Like any other year, someone's dropping like 30 points every single night and adding 8 assists. That's probably the MVP of the year. But Harden already had the 36-point season last season, so I guess people are just used to what Harden does, and it's not as
Dude,
surprising.
if LeBron dropped 36 a game, people wouldn't shut up about it, and they say it's the greatest season of all time. Harden even dropped an efficient 36 on a winning team. I don't really know how like people just snub that. I think he for sure should have beat Giannis this year, and he probably should have won the 2015. But definitely he should have beat. I mean, last year he should have beat Giannis last year.
Yeah, I don't like Giannis. I've never seen him as a top 5 player. I've always had when all healthy. I've always had my top 5 was some combination of LeBron, KD, James Harden, Steph Curry, and Kawhi. I've never been able to like seen Giannis being able to enter that conversation, and this series has definitely like solidified my opinion on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Giannis is a really. I think he is the best. And how do I say this? I think Giannis is amazing on offense, but like his lack of shooting and like his tendency to choke, especially in this series with the Heat, I think that just puts him down from the greatness people praise them as.
You know what this
Yeah.
sets up? You know what this sets up?
What?
Giannis to the Warriors.
Giannis to the Warriors. I mean, he just needs to prove himself, honestly. Giannis, like, but you know what? I think Richard Jefferson said Giannis is like
He's
Scottie
Scottie
Pippen.
Pippen. He needs
Scottie Pippen. He needs
Yeah.
his Michael Jordan. I think that might be true. Put him with a good guard, have him play like off somebody.
I feel like they have two Scottie Pimpens on that team with Chris Middleton and Giannis. I feel like
Mhm.
with like one with a new first option scorer, they really could just win the finals.
if Chris
If you were the
Middleton,
Bucks,
wait, if Chris
and
Middleton is your like third best player, I think that sets up a perfect title contender. But he's your
yeah,
second best player right now.
if you were the Bucks, would you trade Giannis for a Dame?
I don't know if either team. I don't know because of like, does
It is
Portland
a,
want to give up Dame?
I don't think it works for either teams.
Does Portland want to give up Dame? Dame
I
is like
look, I low key think that it's a win-win because okay, so let's look at Portland. they obviously need just kind of like a better player than Dame to go far in the playoffs. Like Dame's not really carrying them anywhere. And if you compare that guy with CJ McCollum around with a lot of shooters and smaller players, and then just have like a really solid contender team, such like a team led by like a really good like wing player. And then on the Bucks side of it, you got the clutchest player in the NBA, just elite high volume scorer, just amazing guard. And you compare that guy with Chris Middleton and a bunch of other good role players with a good coach. May not perform as well in the regular season because I think that Giannis is better than Dame, but you at least have a chance at playoff success.
Yeah, but Dame embodies Portland basketball. Do they want to give him up?
I think Dame wants to get out of there. Like, how do you lose in the playoffs like 10 years in a row?
I'm. I
I
get it
don't know.
could technically work. I just like don't see it actually happening though.
Yeah, I mean, the contracts might not match up, but I'm just saying hypothetically, it seems like both teams kind of need that type of player.
I
Do
know
you
Cal
guys?
like 40 years old, but I think they should put him in like shooting because that team is like, yeah, especially Giannis 0 for 7. Like their 3-point shooting hasn't been good.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
many
feel like
teams are one piece away from being really good.
Brooke Lopez has been really good from three. I don't know if you guys been watching Bucks games, but he's making some ridiculous shots, like some Dirk type shots from three.
Wait, why is Giannis taking 7 threes?
I don't know.
Gave him the green light to go. Oh yeah, hey Giannis, you can take 7 threes for us tonight.
Yeah, he doesn't need to. Why don't you just? It's the same thing with Westbrook. Just drive to the rim. Giannis, you're like 7 feet tall, and you're the strongest player in the NBA. You just get to the hoop.
I feel like what the Heat are doing really well is putting Jay Crowder or Andre or one of the wings they have on Giannis on the perimeter, and having Bam camp in the paint just because he can't shoot. And it's just a really good matchup for them.
Dude, this Heat team is so good, both chemistry wise and on court play. I think
Mhm.
Duncan Robinson is the best shooter that doesn't live in Golden State.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say that too. I don't think he has the volume to say that he's better than other guys out there, but he's definitely shooting more efficient.
Yeah. Wait, does Jay Crowder start at the 4 on Giannis? Like, does he start at power forward?
Jay Crowder. I'm not sure actually. I
I
don't know if
think
he
so
guards.
because it's Jimmy Butler at the three.
Jimmy Butler's a
I
three.
don't know. I haven't
I thought
watched
he
him
said
again.
the two.
I've only watched
Because
like
you have Dragic at the one, Tyler Hero at the two, Butler at the three, and then you have Crowder at the four, and then Bam Adebayo at the five.
Oh, but
I guess,
isn't Harrow bigger than Jimmy Butler?
but
No,
Harrow's a better shooter than Butler. Like,
yeah,
True, true, true.
I don't think he's a good wing defender either.
Yeah, I
I guess
mean, the
Crowder's
NBA is becoming more positionless though, so it's not really.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true. I guess. What about Raptors Celtics? I thought after game 2 and like the previous game 3, I thought it was gonna be Raps. I thought it was gonna be 3. I mean, like not Raptors, but like Raptors for the series. I thought it was gonna be 3-0. Celtics were just gonna take the sweep. OG Anunoby hit that clutch 3.
No one saw it coming. I mean, the three nobody saw coming. Nobody saw the Celtics going up 2-1 and really should be 3-0. I think it just shows that the Celtics are like one of the best teams in the NBA.
Celtics are half a second away from basically going to the conference finals.
Yeah, I know. They're like they got a great roster, honestly. I think I said in a prior podcast, after Gordon Hayward got injured, the Celtics are going to perform better because you're getting your better players more minutes, Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. That's been absolutely right. They're both playing really well. Kemba's playing well. The rest of the team is like all doing their part, and they're just playing really well as a team. And I think that they're the best team in the East.
yeah, I love Jalen Brown. He's been playing so good right now. He's one of. I think he's a big reason why the Celtics are up 2-1 or possibly 3-0, but we know OG said no to
Yeah.
that.
I know the Raptors are happy about this one, but like after the game, there's no way you should be happy about the performance overall. It took you a game-winning 3 at the last second to even get one game. How are you gonna do this for 4 more games, like more games to win the series? I just don't see it happening at this point unless they can piece together some good strategy on offense.
Yeah. They have to
Yeah,
win three of the next four. Like it's just you're down 2-1. Stop celebrating.
I think the only way that'll happen is Fiasco Siakam can actually, drop to the paint, be more efficient, stop the turnovers and stuff. Because so far in this series, he's not been doing that.
I think this series is changing like some people's perceptions on Pascal Siakam. He's always obviously no one thinks he's a superstar, but people have always seen him as like a dependable player for the Raptors. But this playoffs, he's been shooting below 40%.
Yeah, I mean, do you think he's a superstar in your opinion?
No, he's an all-star, but he's not a superstar. Like there's a difference between the two.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I like Nick Nurse's decision to play like Kyle Lowry 46 and Fred VanVleet 40 minutes, like OG Anunoby 45. That's something the Bucks haven't done.
Yeah,
They played Giannis like 35 minutes a game or something compared to like this.
yeah, Coach Bud's just scared to do it. And it's like, it's ridiculous, honestly. You got this super athletic player who puts in all this work, play him 40 minutes a game, at least 40 minutes a game, not 35 minutes a game. He doesn't even be sitting those 5 minutes. I think this was a finals game that LeBron played a while ago, maybe like 3 years ago, where LeBron played 46 minutes, and in the 2 minutes that he was out, the Warriors scored like 10, went on a 10-0 run, and then they lost the game by like two. Like the superstar should have that much of an impact on the team. And if you're not playing your superstar for the majority of the game, obviously you're not going to win the game if that's your best player. It's just counterintuitive.
Didn't
Uh,
LeBron play 48 minutes, all 48 minutes against the Celtics in Game 7 in 2018 or something?
Oh
He was like,
yeah, LeBron's not afraid to play minutes. Like obviously he does like load management, but he's not afraid to
yeah,
just
what I
play.
think what's really interesting about the Bucks is they did rest Giannis during the regular season, so he would have energy for the playoffs. But it's really interesting seeing them playing that such level of minutes for someone you depend on so much.
Yeah, like how much rest do you need? Take a nap before the game or something. Like you don't need to be sitting on the bench for that long. You're an NBA player and you look like a Greek god. But like just just play the game. It's
Yeah,
not
you
gonna
have
what's the point? Then like that fourth quarter, what's the point in taking him out for like 3 minutes? What does that even accomplish for Giannis? That's not gonna give him enough rest to just magically become like completely well rested.
Mhm.
There's no reason
I
for
don't.
I don't like that. Like you're up 11 in the fourth quarter and you taking him out.
I think to be fair, Giannis is a pretty big guy, and big guys tend to have lower staminas. But I feel like that's still not an excuse to take him out the game like that because you have a defensive player of the year and reigning MVP on your roster, playing him less than 40 minutes. I think that's just ridiculous.
I mean, your whole career is for that moment. Being an NBA player, you play overseas ball, you play in high school, you come to the NBA, you become a rookie, you try to work your way up, put in all this work and all this practice, and play all these games with an MVP, potentially two MVPs. The whole point is to win a ring. So why not just give it your all during the playoff games? And if you get tired, so what? Then go out later. But like just to take all these rests, and I know I'm kind of slandering him a bit. I know it's not Giannis's decision to not play these minutes. I think Coach Bud just needs to step up and let him play.
And
I
what's
think
crazy is I don't think it's a problem for Giannis to play low minutes. But in his low minutes, he's really not impacting the game that much. He's not looking like his regular season self. Like he's missing free throws, he's missing easy layups. It's like it's
And
not the year for
this happens every year.
you.
I think there's something being like too coachable. Like every post game like interview, he's always like, "I'm just doing what the coach is telling me to do." But at some point, you just gotta wave him off. Like I remember in 2018 in the conference finals, Klay Thompson picked up like 3 quick fouls, and Steve Kerr wanted to sub him out, but he waved off Steve Kerr. And it's like, "It's okay, trust me. I'm gonna bring us back from this deficit, even though I'm in foul trouble." But Giannis is just listening to whatever he says. I don't know if like their coach, like Mike Budenholzer, does he like play on a spreadsheet or something? Like he has a set rotation in his mind and he refuses to like change it at all. He doesn't adapt to like the game situation at all. It's really frustrating to watch, even as like an outsider.
Yeah, you're right. Part of that does lie on Giannis because, like, you think about some like really just like great players like Harden, Jimmy Butler, all these like maybe not Kawhi, maybe somebody like LeBron or something. They're not gonna like just submissively be like, okay, no, I won't play. Like they want to play and they have the killer instinct. I don't know if Giannis has that.
Maybe in the regular season he does, but so far in the playoffs I have not seen that from him.
I
Yeah,
think it's also because Giannis has like in the regular season the Bucks are just so dominant that they didn't have any situations where they were actually in the clutch. Giannis could sit every fourth quarter, and now that teams are turning up, they don't have any experience of actually playing a competitive game that requires like to turn up and to be have that energy. He only played 30 minutes per game in the regular season, so I don't know if it's a conditioning problem. I don't think it could be though. He's an athlete, but I guess that could be in a factor.
But you don't see him like Joel Embiid or Jokic just having like a conditioning problem where he just like gets tired. I don't really see Giannis like too like extremely winded during the games. He doesn't seem like he's struggling to get up and down the floor.
Well, what were your thoughts on that game two of back-to-back fouls? One on Goran Dragic, which gave Middleton three free throws, and then the Butler one with 0 seconds left on the clock.
Butler one was crazier. That was just like, oh my god, I couldn't believe myself watching that. Like with 0 seconds left to win the game, and then I think both fouls were fouls. Like it's not like the refs messed up. I agree with both the calls. I think it's just on like the team that committed the foul. They just need to not do that.
I don't like the clock situation though. How are you gonna put 0 seconds up on a foul? Like I don't see how that's even possible. How can someone foul with 0.0? That's game over. I guess if you foul at 0.0, then it's not a foul, right? Because that's after the game.
Yeah, you are right. That doesn't really make much sense. Like the game is over and then you call a foul. Like that seems like some retroactive stuff.
I feel like the refs during the bubble have been complete garbage, in my opinion. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Rockets fan. Like without bias, like watching the Jazz and Denver series, every series I've seen, especially Scott Foster, like they've been complete trash.
They're calling too many fouls. Like, yeah, they've been bad because they're calling too many fouls. It's supposed to be playoffs where you call less fouls historically, but it seems like they're calling more.
I mean, didn't like, Gobert get poked in the eye? They didn't even call an and one for him. Like he dunked the ball and got hit in the eye. They don't call that, but then they'll call like dumb foul
Yeah.
that like maybe isn't much contact. It just I don't know like how this is like the NBA is supposed to be the best of the best, and these are the best refs. Fine.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really questionable because like I wouldn't mind a lot of foul calls as long as you call them consistently, but that's just not happening right now.
Hmm.
I wonder how it feels like if you're a ref and like during like when there isn't game time and like you're just going to get some lunch or something and you see like like James Harden getting his food, like is it awkward? Like I
Yeah, that was pretty funny, honestly. Yeah, Harden hates the refs. Hasn't Harden already said like Scott Foster, like he just hates him?
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I don't
Harden
think any,
Harden took some shots at Giannis yesterday too. He said, "I'd rather play small ball than have a 7 footer that doesn't put any energy into the game."
dang.
I want to see that finals matchup. Probably not going to happen though.
Even as someone that doesn't like the Rockets, I wouldn't mind seeing a Rockets Heat finals. That'd be interesting for me.
I mean, I want a Rockets Celtics finals for obvious reasons, but I think who do right now? Obviously, we made predictions earlier during the bubble, but who's your finals prediction?
I'm gonna say the Eastern Conference is gonna be Celtics Heat in the finals, and there might be Celtics in seven. I want to see the Heat, but I think the Celtics will take it over them.
For the West.
The Clippers might just take it, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like Kawhi has been such a good, consistent playoff player. He's I don't know what you can say about Kawhi besides the fact he's clutch. You know, you can depend on him. Great defensive player.
In my
He'll take
opinion,
you to the
Kawhi is like
finals.
one of the few superstars that actually turns up in the playoffs. LeBron is probably the only other example, in my opinion. Like KD, he's great, but he's always
KD,
great. But
nah,
Kawhi
KD
rises. I
turns it
think
up in the playoffs.
I think Kawhi rises way more than KD does.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
think that KD's performed well in like almost every single like
I mean,
finals he's been
before the
in.
Warriors, he wasn't that good. He came to the Warriors and like I remember one year again in OKC, like he's always been like a 35 plus shooter from three, right? I think again in 2016 he shot like 30% below 30% from three.
Uh,
And in game six and game seven against the Warriors when they blew that 3-1 lead, he shot like 10 for 31 or something like that. So,
See, isn't the NBA so great and interesting without the hegemonic Warriors? Just you're gonna know they win the title every year.
you have to say it's no coincidence that this is like the first competitive playoffs since the Warriors dynasty.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun watching like you don't know which team is legitimately gonna win.
I think next year is still going to be competitive because with Steph, Clay, and
Yeah, but they're not gonna
Draymond,
be as
and
good without like that fourth. Like what made them super scary was the KD factor that he could get a bucket at any point in time. 2015, 2016 Warriors, they were great, but they showed weaknesses. But like with KD, that just made them like overpowered. So I think it's gonna be competitive even next year with
Yeah,
just
I feel like even the playoff seeding in the West is going to be competitive, and like the playoff series next year is going to be even better because that you see, I don't think it's going to Portland or Grizzlies. I think the Warriors are going to push them out.
Yeah, and then you
well,
got the Nets in the East. Don't forget about them. They got
I
Yeah,
Kyrie
forgot
and
about
they
them.
got KD.
Are the Thunder gonna just trade away CP and hit the reset button, or are they gonna keep competing?
I think they should keep competing, but trade CP3 for a younger sort of star type player.
I don't know how that's going to be possible because CP3 is just a huge contract. They're going to have to give up some picks with him too.
Trade up a lot of picks, all these future
Yeah,
picks. Because the thing is, you got like a young core of players who are maybe 2 to 3 years in the league. Why do you
yeah.
need like first round picks in 2024, 2025?
I feel like maybe would you ever trade Steven Adams because he has a big contract either. He's
Who's
not
gonna take him?
a team that
Yeah,
needs a center.
nobody's gonna. I don't really think that he's like a super tradable asset. He's like
That's
a
true.
barely net positive. I think
He
they
does,
just
no,
need to
he's a
dump
solid. He's a
CP3.
solid five, but his contract is he's a max contract or something like that.
Yeah,
Has I think
honestly,
a 25 mil.
even like next year, like let's say there's a good player in next year's draft. I think that they need to consolidate most of their first round picks into a good young like star type player. You know, like whoever's like on the market who's like dissatisfied, I think that they should unsatisfied. I think that they should trade for that person, just like timeline wise, because you want your core to be all around the same age.
What about Shooter? Do they trade away Shooter?
Nah, keep Schroeder.
Wait, is Shooter's young? He's like, is he like 26?
Yeah, he's like
Yeah,
26.
he's not even in his prime yet.
Yeah, but they should build their team around 23 to 26 year olds, not somebody who's like 14 right now.
Warriors pick for Shooter and Ludort
Shooter or Ludort?
and Ludort.
What?
The Warriors' second overall pick for Dennis Shooter and Ludort.
Nah, this year's a bad draft. They shouldn't do that. I think
Mm-mm.
maybe in a couple years.
I don't think the Thunder really need anything from the draft. I feel like they're really all around in every position they need.
I mean, if they get James Wiseman, you got Shea and James Wiseman as your 1 and 2.
I think the Thunder need just like a superstar.
Yeah, like I mean, you have Noel coming off the bench for center. They don't really need Wiseman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. I think the Thunder are in an interesting situation.
Ooh, what if the Thunder trade for Embiid?
What
That's
CP
it.
CP for Embiid?
CP and like 5 picks for Embiid.
I think it's more
Maybe.
realistic that the Sixers trade Ben Simmons and Embiid.
Oh, for real? I think that they're gonna keep Ben Simmons.
I mean, Embiid can he's when he's aggressive, he's dominant in the paint and he can hit the wide open three if necessary. Simmons is a great passer and defender, but you can't really depend on him to give you a clutch bucket.
He's more reliable though than Embiid. He doesn't choke.
Yeah, because he's not shooting the ball.
Yeah, true. But at least he gives his all. If I were a team, I'd rather have Simmons. I think Embiid's better though.
Yeah, I feel like on OKC, I feel like Simmons would fit better in place of CP3 because they have the shooters around him.
Hmm.
I bet the Sixers like regret their Jimmy Butler experience now.
Oh yeah, y'all want to
Big
talk
time.
about the Heat? The Heat are just performing great. Like nobody expected it, and it's every year these Spoelstra-led teams that are like mediocre just overperform the playoffs every single year. He's an
And
Every
underrated
year.
coach.
I predicted Heat, but I thought it was gonna be a competitive. I thought the Heat would edge it out, but I didn't think they would just dominate the Bucks the way they
Dude,
did.
I had Bucks in 5. I'm shocked.
Do you think they're gonna sweep the Bucks?
Yeah.
The Bucks are mentally checked out at this point. 3-0. Most teams are down 3-0.
Yeah.
They're checked out at that point.
I
Mhm.
that post game speech by Giannis, he was trying to show faith in his teammates, but I don't know that tone he had with the reporters, and it didn't sound too good.
When the Sixers went down 3-0 to the Celtics, they canceled practice the next day. Like they didn't even practice.
Dang.
I don't know how what the Bucks are gonna do.
Hmm.
This is Jimmy Butler's world. And we're just all living in it with him.
Yeah, he's
He re-
overperforming to the highest
he
extent.
re- he really took the Heat to another level, in my opinion, especially with like really good add-ons because he didn't have Hero or Kendrick Nunn last year, but I feel like Butler was that piece that glued everything together and made that team.
He's not like an efficient shooter, but he's really clutch. He outscored the Bucks in the fourth quarter, 17-13.
Mm-hmm.
How can you be the number one team with an offense and defense and have it not only let the other team drop 40 points in the fourth quarter, but only score 13?
I don't know how their defensive rating is so good when they're so bad at defense. It just
It's
doesn't
because
make sense.
it's the playoffs now. They're different.
I bet
Yeah.
AD wants that deep boy now. AD wants that deep back.
80 what?
I bet AD wants that deep boy from Giannis now after seeing what Giannis has been doing.
Yeah.
AD's been doing pretty good on defense too. He has some pretty decent blocks against the Rockets, but
I'm trying to
yeah,
get the
also
exact quote, but an anonymous all-star said something about Giannis's defense being overrated.
Ooh. Harden?
It was anonymous, so like
So it was probably Harden.
it probably was. It was probably hard AD.
Yeah.
Um, so the all-star said he's not a lockdown defender who shuts down other stars and shouldn't be deep boy.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Do you think Butler could have said that to try to get in Giannis's head?
Yeah, I think that wouldn't be like uncurious. Do y'all remember when Butler just had that crazy like couple days at the Timberwolves where he like played with like the third string guys
oh
against like
yeah,
Pat and Wiggins and stuff, and he was just like,
that
Dude,
man's just different, man.
Butler grew up homeless. He's an NBA player now. He's like like one of the mentally toughest people you can get in the NBA right now.
for sure. Honestly, I've always liked Butler. I thought the Rockets should have traded for him like a long
I mean,
time ago.
yeah, in the offseason, I wanted them to sign Butler.
Jeez, imagine Harden and Butler on the same team. That'd be crazy.
Oh yeah. hmm
But
Butler has superstar potential for sure.
wait, when they were trading for Butler, did they already have CP3?
Rainbow Butler, they already have CP3. Yeah, I think they would have.
Oh, that Western Conference in 2018 would have been even more crazier.
hmm Yeah. Do you think that Butler? I think that Jimmy Butler is the ninth best player in the NBA.
Okay, there's the top five of LeBron, Curry, KD, Harden, Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
I think Luka is up there at this point. He's top
Nah,
10.
Luka's not better than.
No,
Luka's
I'm
not
saying
better than
he's
Jimmy
the top
Butler.
10. I think Luka's the top 10 player at this
Yeah.
point.
Okay, wait, hold up. You got LeBron,
Wait,
Kawhi, KD in some
when all
order.
healthy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
You have
those three, and then
LeBron, KD, Kawhi. Then you
Curry,
have Harden,
Curry,
Curry, AD,
AD,
Giannis.
Westbrook.
Giannis over Westbrook.
But Westbrook has to be in the top 10, right?
No. Dame, Jimmy Butler, Luka, then Westbrook at 11,
What about Jokic or Embiid?
12 or something.
That's interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
My Instagram bio is Paul George is a mentally weak Jimmy Butler. I
Paul
think that's
George,
facts.
mentally weak, Jimmy Butler.
I
Yeah.
don't think I don't think he's even play as good as Jimmy Butler. He doesn't have the clutch factor,
Yeah, who's better?
and he's not consistent. I
Yeah,
mean, they're both kind of not
Alan, you asked
consistent.
that question like 3 months ago or something. Who's better, Jimmy Butler or Paul George? And I think we
Yeah,
have our answer.
we have our
Yeah,
answer. Yeah, Butler is just great. Like he's not. Paul George isn't dependable at all.
hmm
he's
I
not
wonder.
doing that bad anymore. But earlier in the playoffs, he did not perform.
Yeah.
I wonder if these players have like you know how we compare like Steph and Dame, Butler and Paul George. I wonder if these NBA players have like maybe internal rivalry, either they don't care as much as we do about.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if like Paul George was like talking Jimmy Butler like over text, like 1v1 me or
Yeah,
something?
imagine like if PG like was just DMing Butler like how trash he was and stuff.
I would
Like
want to see a bubble 1v1 King of the Court tournament.
Yeah, people are talking about that. Like for All Star Weekend, we should have one-on-ones.
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
know
but
why they don't.
there's no way some like stars are gonna agree to that. There's no way like Embiid's gonna agree to play against like someone like dominant in the paint.
I mean, I
I
don't
mean,
think that like LeBron, KD, Curry, Harden would agree, but I think all the other ones would agree. Like Jimmy Butler's not saying no.
There's
Paul
no way
George not saying
Westbrook is.
no.
I don't think there's any way Westbrook is willing to like lose against like to go and lose against like Curry or someone.
Yeah.
I want to see Kyrie in those one-on-ones too with those handles.
hmm
I want to see who'd win in a Curry Kyrie 1v1.
Probably Kyrie, honestly. It's a 1v1.
Honestly, I don't want to see a 1v1 just because I don't want to see Curry like just get sauced by someone crazy.
That'd be funny.
You know the memes are gonna come out of that if like someone gets dropped or something.
Who do you think the
That
best 1v1 player would be?
KD when healthy.
What?
KD when he's healthy, it's definitely KD. I think.
yeah,
For real?
yeah, KD.
Yeah, Katie's honestly elite. Kind of
I
reminds me of
I've
myself.
seen I've seen YouTube videos like Team USA. Usually like yourself. I've seen Team USA videos like of them playing 1v1 with only a three dribble like you can only dribble three times, and
Hmm.
KD just like scores every single time.
Yeah, because he just pulls up and shoots over people. Honestly, I was gonna say Harden.
I think Harden has too much variance in his game. He could come out and just cook one guy and then just miss all of it, step back to the next.
Yeah, depends on how much pressure he has on himself.
KD and Kawhi are the only people, or sometimes Curry, that when they put it up, I just assume it goes in every single time down.
KD, Kawhi, Curry.
Especially when KD and Kawhi are doing that mid range, it's cash every single time in my mind. It's a surprise when they miss a mid range to me.
Yeah, you're right. What NBA player has like put the most fear in you? Like just watching, like rooting for the team that they're playing against.
That's an interesting question.
I already know my answer.
I don't know because it's probably LeBron or Harden.
Curry for me, 100%. Just seeing Curry be off ball trying to get open and then just knowing that he's going to get the ball, shoot it, score, drain a three, like three times in a row. Whether I'm rooting for the Rockets, whether I'm rooting for LeBron, it's just not
Yeah,
good.
especially
Disheartening.
especially in those like 2018 days where the Rockets and Warriors head off in the playoffs, and you had Curry, KD, Clay, all knockdown shooters playing against y'all. It's like it's
You're
it's a
like
pretty scary sky.
2015, 2016 days.
Well, it's different for me because I'm on the other side. I'm on like the Warrior side, so like, and no team really threatened the Warriors. There's only been two teams that have actually. Well, the 2018 Rockets are the only one that have threatened the KD Warriors, but
Yeah.
in 2016 LeBron, he was scary in the finals. It felt like every time that he was on a fast break chasing down someone, there was a block every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the best plays on the fast break is LeBron on defense or offense.
Mm.
How many times did LeBron block Curry in that 2016 finals? It was like every single game he would just block Curry's layups. It was so sad to see.
Yeah. It's like honestly a yearly tradition for the Rockets to get eliminated by the Warriors.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 years. It seems like every year the Warriors play the Blazers in the first round, beat them, play the Rockets in the second or third round, beat them, and then play LeBron in the finals.
Yeah, it's literally how it is every year. That's why the NBA is so boring. And then in the Eastern Conference, you got LeBron beating the Raptors every year, and then you have like the other like mediocre teams, but LeBron always wins.
Yeah, this is why this year is way more interesting because realistically, almost every team in the second round, except for the Bucks and Nuggets, could make the finals.
That's crazy how the Bucks are like already out of contention when they had the best regular season.
They were on pace for 70 wins. That's crazy.
They were about to break records,
Okay.
and now
If
they're
if
not even gonna
Johnny,
make the finals.
if the Bucks won 70 games and got swept out of the second round, is that more embarrassing than the Warriors, or was the Warriors just the top? Is that the worst you can get?
Nah, the worst are the worst you can get. 73-9 doesn't mean a thing without a ring.
Can anything top that? Unless you like go 82-0 and choke with 3 wins. Like, is anything else like realistic that could get worse than that?
Oh, for sure. Go 82-0, go to the
Like
finals, and then
realistically, like,
beat, and then the opponent comes down from 3-0.
but like realistically, what's like is that's not gonna happen. A team can go
It's not
82.
gonna happen this year.
Do you think a team can go 82-0?
Do I think?
I don't think that's possible.
I think 73 might be unbreakable.
Is
This
there any
is really hard.
I think 73, yeah, is the max because all those 73 and 9 teams were like loaded with superstars.
Hmm.
anything else you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, guys. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for tuning into the fourth episode. By next week, we're gonna see who's gonna be in the Eastern Conference Finals probably, and the Western Conference semifinals might be wrapped up too. So you
Hmm.
might get your conference finals predictions next episode.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See ya.
All right. Bye.